What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Blue Line Patriot. So today I'm going to talk about my range bag, why it's set up, or how it's set up and why. Now, today we just got back from the range with the Hellcat Pro. I went ahead and fired 250 rounds today, just my typical training session, 250 rounds. Every time I go, it's 250, maybe a little bit more. Now, since I've been home, I did clean up this pistol. So, you know, it's not going to look dirty. It's nice and cleaned up. But anyway, first thing I did when I got home, cleaned the gun. And then as I was putting everything away and kind of repacking my bag, I figured it'd be a pretty good idea to kind of just go through my range bag, talk about it, what I have in it, why. Because I see a lot of range bags, and, you know, a lot of them are real tactical and whatnot. They have all this stuff going on, and I guess reality, not everybody's got a set up like that. So me personally, I've been shooting my entire life. I have a bag that works. I love my bag. I have no reason to change it out, so this is what I got. So as you can see, it does have a nice kind of old-fashioned sort of, you know, vintage military look to it. Off the side we have it's pretty well, I guess pretty old-fashioned style with the way the zipper is right here. Bag, equipment, part number, blah blah blah. Date manufactured 6/1953. Alright, that's obviously bullshit, but it is a cool looking bag. Has a nice retro look to it. So let's get into it. So on the outside I have a tourniquet. It's just on a rubber band here, so I could just yank that off in no time if I wanted to. Well, since we already talked about the tourniquet, let's talk about the outside zippers first, what I have in my pockets and whatnot, and we'll go from there. Now, over here I just have a pretty much just an IFAK. I have two packing gauzes, one H bandage and one chest seal, just something extra, you know, just for safety. And then I have a quick tab, so if I want to, you know, pull it apart, I just grab this and I yank it. Whole thing comes untaped, so basically it's ready to rock and roll if I need to. And again, my tourniquet is on the outside of my bag, just so I can grab that a little quicker. What do we have in here? I think this is more, yeah, another packing gauze, some tissues so I can wipe my nose or my. If you've never been at the range and had to sneak into the woods to take a shit, you don't shoot enough. Be a man. Alright, let's see what I got here. Okay, so this is just my defensive ammo. This is what I use for my actual, you know, for my Hellcat Pro. See, what I do when I go to the range is, first things first, I get to the range cold. I take whatever's in my magazine. I fire 5 rounds, just to make sure my sights are still on, to make sure, you know, kind of see where I'm at. And then what I'll do is I'll fire all of the rounds that I have with me, typically 250 rounds, maybe a little bit more, but around 250 rounds, blast them all off, and then I'll fire 5 more, just to make sure everything's still good. Take slow, steady shots, make sure my sights are still good, and then I'll go ahead and load up the rest of my magazine, get condition 1, and carry on home. But yeah, so I typically carry 2 of these boxes just to have some extra stuff. But yeah, I get to the range, 5 rounds from the pistol cold, my 250 rounds, and then 5 more rounds, and then I just load up the mag and carry on. So that's it for that. Now I have some change and whatnot in there. I'm gonna dig that out right now in real time. Put that off to the side. Throw that somewhere. Okay, let's see. Over here, we already went in there. Packing gauzes, whatnot. Alright, let's get inside. So again, there's nothing special really going on in here. I'm not taking anything out in any particular order, but this is a case that I have. This is what the Hellcat Pro came inside of. And, trying to open it up with one hand, it's a little finicky. So inside of here I just have batteries for my optic, I do have a speed loader. This now I will say this speed loader is the only speed loader that I've ever used in my entire life. I think I played with one once, but this easy loader thing, when it comes to the Hellcat Pro, this is the only gun that I've ever really used this with. I don't use it a lot, but I do use this. I don't even want to say regularly, because that's not the right word, but I have used this out of kind of necessity, because the magazines are so freaking stiff. But they are getting a little bit easier. But yeah, I guess the quote-unquote technology that they use for these magazines to get them so small and to fit 15 rounds means you have a really tight spring, or stiff spring, I should say. So anyway, this came in handy a few times. I don't use it very often, but I do use it more than I've ever used any speed loader in my life. So maybe I've used this 4 or 5 times. But anyway, the fact that it is getting used by me and I never use these, it says something about those magazines. But they're good, they're dependable, never had an issue. So in here I just have a little bag, or a little packet of gun parts, gun tools. So I have a sight tool in there. I have some, I have the plate that came on top of the Hellcat Pro. I have a little laser bullet trainer in here that I also use for sight work as well. So say for example I'm putting on an optic, I'll use this to basically bore sight it and then take it to the range, and then, you know, make my fine adjustments from there. But yeah, so basically just a little packet of gun tools, gun, you know, whatever. If I'm on the range, I need to do a sighted adjustment, or if I need to do a sight adjustment, I got that there, blah blah blah. This little chamber indicator, I just kept it in there anyway. I have a pen in here. The pen basically is for the laser trainer. To get this out of there, you either need a cleaning rod, or I use a pen to knock it out of there, because there's no walls for the extractor to clamp onto. So anyway, you got to push it out, and that's what that's for. So this comes to the range with me. Sometimes it's like, for example, if I have some extra ammunition, like for example when I went to the range today, I had 6 rounds of Hornady critical defense, and I wanted to keep that separate from my bag of ammo so I can keep track of it, because I always have issues with that Hornady stuff. So I didn't want to mix it in with the bag. I wanted to know specifically when I was using that, so I loaded it up all together. And surprisingly, this time around, guys, I did not have an issue with Hornady. I typically do. The critical defense or the critical duty, typically have an issue with that, but this time around I didn't. I still don't trust it, though. I would not trust my life with that. Now, this bag is typically full of ammo, so I blasted off all that ammo, so I can't really show you. But typically this bag, what I'll do is at home, I'll go ahead and get all my ammo, you know, out of the box, and I'll just dump it all in here, so this way I can just grab in here and grab my ammo. But what I did today is I have these 147 grains. I think they're Federal HSTs, and then I have a 115 grain Federal HSTs. And the reason that I have these in 2 different magazines is because I didn't want to mess them up. This is 147 grains and 115 grains. And to keep them separate, I kept them in 2 different magazines, because this magazine is for my Glock 43X. This magazine is for my M&P 2.0. So the reason I'm even doing this is kind of an experiment I sort of got forced into today, because I was watching a video about the Hellcat Pro. It was some, I don't know, some lady, and she was shooting, and she was talking about how 115 grains are more snappy than 147 grains. And I thought in my head, I'm like, to me, snappy means noticeable recoil or heavier recoil, quote unquote. And so I was thinking in my head, I'm like, how the hell is it that 115 grain is more snappy, has more recoil than 147 grain? Because in my experience, the heavier round always has more recoil, or it is more quote unquote snappy. So unless snappy means something different than recoil, I'm very confused. So anyway, I was like, let me see, because I've never really noticed a huge difference. I mean, I've noticed maybe a little bit of a difference over the years, but I've never noticed a tremendous difference. But one thing that kind of stuck with me is like, yeah, if it's a heavier load, it's going to recoil more. 'Cause, you know, more gas to push it out of the barrel, that creates more pressure and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, what the hell is she talking about? But I'm thinking, you know, she seemed like a sponsored shooter. So she seemed like, you know, maybe she's onto something. I don't know. So anyway, I went to the range, 115 grain, 147 grain. 147 grain kicks, has more recoil coming out of the Hellcat Pro, and the 115 grain has less recoil coming out of it. But I will say that there is something different with this ammo compared to my Hornady, compared to this stuff here, because this will shoot kind of normal, I guess. But then these Federal HSTs, even the 115 grains, have a little bit more oomph to them. I don't know if they're just loaded hotter or whatever the case is. Could be. But yeah, in my experience, the 147 grain definitely was more snappy than the 115 grain. So I don't know what the hell she's talking about. So whatever. So anyway, that was an experiment I did today. And yes, true to form, just like I've known basically my whole life, the heavier round is more snappy or has more felt recoil than the lighter round. If I'm overlooking something, put it in the comments, let me know. Maybe there's two different terms. Maybe snappy means something else. I don't know, but yeah, I'd rather have a 115 grain out of the smaller gun than a 147 grain, only because it's, you know, easier to follow up on, you know, the way the shots break, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the 115 grains out of smaller pistols. Now, if it's like a duty pistol with 4-inch barrel, 5-inch barrel, 147 all day long, no problem. But smaller guns, I like the smaller rounds. Let's see what else we got in here. Ear Pro, pretty standard. Yes, they are the electronic type, but I never really use that feature anyhow. We have a torque screwdriver. So I carry this with me to the range to make sure that the screws that I have holding my optic on stay at a certain spec. So for the Hellcat Pro, it's about 15 pounds. So I have this set to 15 pounds. So I use the tiny little guy right here to make sure that the torque specs are kept up with. Also, I have a bag of red Loctite, some other screws just in case. So yeah, I always have this crap with me on the range because I've been on the range multiple times, guys, where, you know, something fails on the gun and then your range day is kaput because you didn't have a screwdriver or a sight tool or, you know, something simple. That crap, now you have to go home and grab. So yeah. Now, masking tape. Masking tape is basically to complement my sights here, or targets. See, when I go to the range, basically what I do is I get a like a big target, silhouette target or something, and then what I'll do is once I start shooting a hole in it, I'll just tape these up on top of it, and then I'll have like a little, you know, at 10 yards, 15 yards, this is kind of a pretty small target to zero in on. So that's just what I do. Now, I understand these are for the M4 and whatnot, but whatever. It's a small little guy. 10 yards, it's even smaller. 15 yards, even smaller. So that's kind of what I focus on to my zeroing in and sight work and all that sort of crap. Work on the fundamentals. Plus, it fits inside of my little bag here, so it's perfect. And just for reference, this is the size of a normal sheet of paper that you would get from basically any kind of office, like 10 by 11 or whatever. Just to give you some scale. See what else I have in here. iPro, of course. Got to have the iPro. See what else I got. Now, other than a bunch of loose casings floating around my bag, that is it. Yeah, that's it. Let's see if I can get all my casings in the middle. I'm going to push down and create a gravity funnel. So yeah, just a bunch of random casings, but I put those in my pocket and get them out of there. But yeah, that's it for the range bag, guys. So that's basically everything I take to the range when I'm shooting my Hellcat Pro. Now the Hellcat Pro, this is like a dedicated range bag for specifically the Hellcat Pro. Right now this is sitting at 750 rounds, maybe a little bit more. Maybe I would feel safe saying 780, 790, maybe 500 maximum. But it's still holding up pretty well. It's got some really nice wear working in. Personally, I like the wear, because if you have a very clean gun, I know for a fact that you don't have any skill with that gun, because if it's clean, it's not worn at all, it means you're not using it, you're not shooting it, you're not getting proficient with it. So when I see a gun with some wear marks, that's a happy sight to me. So to have wear marks on my pistol is a badge of honor. But anyway, guys, that is it for today. 750 rounds, Hellcat Pro, still working great. The trigger still feels great. I have no plans to change the trigger out. I know in the last video I talked about maybe getting a new barrel and a suppressor. I don't even know. I don't even know if it's worth it at this point. With the ATF doing their bullshit about, you know, AR pistols, AK pistols, all that sort of stuff, and the quote-unquote braces being stocks, you know, to get a suppressor used to take a year. I don't think it's going to get any better now that everybody's going to be, you know, doing the whole stock thing. So I'm like, I don't even know if it's even worth it at this point, because, I mean, am I going to care in a year? I mean, maybe, but I don't know. It's less of a priority to get the suppressor and the new barrel, so I'm just going to stick with what I got. These sights, I love the iron sights on this gun. The only thing I would wish is just to get them just bumped up a tiny bit more, to make them a little taller, so that I can co-witness through my green dot here. But I could still lollipop if I need to do that. You know, I could still do that, because I know I'll hit right above my front sight if I need to. So I could still, you know, use that trick, but I would love it if I could just find these exact sights just a little bit taller. Let's see. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, I have no plans to change anything out. I did see that there's some aftermarket parts with the takedown lever. I'm not going to change that out. I've seen that there's aftermarket slide release or slide lock. I'm not going to change that out. The aftermarket slide lock is a little bit more pronounced, which is not a good thing. I've seen people, you know, put them in their pistols, but dude, if you want to hit this, you're going to hit it, you know. Some guys even hit it on accident because it's right where your knuckle is, and to make that bigger means you're going to hit it more often. So to me, that's not really an upgrade. That's just companies trying to grab your money. Now, I've seen magazine releases, upgraded magazine releases, quote unquote. This one here, it sits real flush, but it's not a problem at all. If you want to get your magazine out, you're gonna get your magazine out. There's no issue with getting to the mag release. Matter of fact, if you did make that more pronounced, you might hit it accidentally, and you know, you'd be putting you'd be knocking your magazine out accidentally. You know, that's nothing I want to really mess with. So the magazine release itself is nice. I don't think I'll be changing that out. I'm definitely not touching my trigger. I'm happy with my trigger. I'm happy with my optic. I can't really think of anything that I would want to change on this pistol, except for the sights a little bit higher. But yeah, I don't know. So I mean, maybe down the line it might come to the point where maybe I'll get a suppressor. If I hear that, you know, the ATF is actually keeping up with things, then maybe I'll go for the suppressor. Maybe I'll get a new barrel. But for right now, guys, I gotta say, the only thing I think I'd like to add to this is maybe, and I mean maybe, an extended magazine here, where maybe I can get 17 rounds instead of 15. But either way, I'm still happy with the 15 round mags. But yeah, there's nothing on this gun that I'd want to change out. Everything works perfectly. It's very accurate. It's more accurate than I can be, so I have zero issues with it. 750 rounds. Next time I go to the range, I'll be firing what the hell, another 250 rounds, and that'll bring us to a solid 1,000 rounds. So I'll do another you know, I'll talk at 100, yeah, at 1,000 rounds. We'll come back and we'll talk about it some more. And but yeah, so I got some pictures here. I'm gonna roll in. My 250 rounds this time was basically a little bit of MagTech ammo, a little bit of some random mil-spec ammo in a brown box, and then I think it was about 100. I think it was 100 rounds of steel case ammo, and maybe a box, the white box of Federal. I have a picture. I'm just trying to, I already took the picture. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but it was another bullet soup day. I had one malfunction. That one malfunction was, I don't know exactly what ammo it was, but it was brass case ammo. And basically when it went to feed, I should have taken a picture of it. It was not a double feed. It was basically a failure to go into battery, but kind of worse. It was like a mixture of like a stovepipe. Basically what happened is I think the bullet itself, the base of it, where the extractor, or not the extractor claw, but that groove, that kind of popped out of place, and the tip of the bullet was in the barrel. And not in the barrel, but like going into the chamber, and then the base of the bullet was kind of poked out, so it looked kind of like a stovepipe, but it wasn't a stovepipe. Matter of fact, I'm going to try and recreate that for you guys to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Alright, so I just took a picture there to pop it in to show you guys what I'm talking about. But basically that was the, I don't know if it was the same round or not. I don't know. I don't know if it was MagTech. I don't know if it was the mil-spec stuff. I don't know if it was the Federal stuff. I'm not sure. I should have taken a look at the back of the casing to be sure. And again, that photo I put up was the jam that I created here just now to show you what happened. So, like I said, it was not a stovepipe. It looked kind of like a stovepipe, looked kind of like a double feed, but it wasn't. It was just that round itself, lopsided, looks like it popped out of the extractor claw, and whatever. So no dimple on the primer. So it was just, basically it was just, I don't know exactly what happened, but out of 250 rounds, that was the only malfunction I had. So basically out of 750 rounds, maybe a little, well, a little bit more than 750 rounds, out of that I had 2 malfunctions with Hornady, either critical defense or critical duty, and 1 malfunction with that brass case ammo. I'm not sure exactly what it was, and I should have, like I said, I should have tracked that a little better, but I just wanted to clear and get back to shooting. But anyway, out of 750 rounds, 2 malfunctions. 0 of them have been with my defensive ammunition, but again, I haven't really been burning through this stuff. I maybe have fired the actual stuff that I carry for defense. Man, maybe 75 rounds of this. I've never had an issue with that, but it's only 75 rounds, so, you know, whatever. But yeah, out of 750 rounds, 3 malfunctions, and they all seemed ammunition related. The Hornady critical defense stuff, or critical duty, whatever it was, that doesn't surprise me because I've always had issues with that. So I guess I would chalk it up to 1 malfunction that I'm surprised about. I guess because, like I said, I'm not surprised with the Hornady stuff. But yeah, 1 malfunction that I really don't know how to explain. So I'm gonna keep an eye on that, see what all happens. But yeah, 1 out of 750, well, maybe even 800 rounds at this point. Not bad, not bad. So I'll keep an eye out. It might have just been a dud round. It looked okay, so whatever. But anyway, guys, that's it for today. Hellcat Pro, 750 rounds, still doing good. The wear is, again, if you shoot your gun, you're going to have wear on it, but basically the only parts that seems to be wearing is, I guess, underneath the slide here, but also the top of the barrel here, the top of the chamber. Seems to get a little wear. The barrel inside gets a little bit of wear, but again, nothing I'm concerned about. Now this wear on this side, right in this area here. That's all from the Four Brothers holster. This one here, did a review on it. I'm still carrying it. Now, one thing I'm realizing is that when it is holstered, hang on, when it's holstered, getting a grip on it before you take it out of the holster gets a little tough, because right where your thumb is right here, all this cuts into you pretty good. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to Dremel some clearance out here and smoothen it down so that I can actually get my grip on the pistol before taking it out of the holster, without tearing up the inside of my thumb, because right here I don't want to say it's sharp, but you definitely notice it digging into you. And so that's going to be a point for blisters and hot spots and whatnot. So I'm definitely going to cut into this and trim it down a little bit. But basically, guys, that's it for today. I'll talk to you guys all next time. Maybe next week, if not next week, the week after. We'll go ahead and get another 250 rounds downrange, and that'll be that. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for you today. Stay safe, stay smart, and I'll talk to you all later. Blue Line Patriot signing out. Thanks for watching, guys. Before you go, I want to let you know about my 2 stores. The links are in the description below. If you like tactical, survival, anti-woke stuff, this is the place for you. I have lots of t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, paracord wristbands, and keychains that make for great gifts or your own personal gear. Look cool or just troll the soy boys with Blue Line Patriot swag. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to stay up to date with my content. But above all, stay safe, stay smart. Blue Line Patriot, out.